Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to talk about China's dark obsession with abortions. The numbers you see in the West are rookie numbers compared to what's happening in China. Now the abortion rates are on a decrease in China ever since the one-child policy has ended, but it's left a very dark chapter in Chinese history. So as of today in 2023, there's been over 340 million. Yes, you've heard that correct. 340 million. That's more than the population of the United States, the third most populous country on Earth. So there's been over 340 million reported abortions that took place in China. That's just the ones that's being reported. So the real number is probably much higher. It's probably somewhere around the 500 million, I would say. So let's get started. So China's infamous one-child policy obviously has had a huge impact in terms of China's abortion rates. So within the first 12 months of China implementing the one-child policy back in 1980, so the CCP, they forced 15 women in China to have abortions. This was forced by the government, and it's estimated that there's a typo on the screen, and it is estimated that over 20 million people were sterilized. This is all within the first 12 months of the one-child policy for both men and women. 20 million were sterilized on top of the 15 million abortions. And over the course of the next 35 years of the one-child policy, China would be averaging around 15 million abortions a year at least. Like I said, there were many cases that's unreported, and so the real number could be much higher. We could be looking at 20 million or more abortions a year. And it is estimated that during this time period, that 40 to 50 million, yes, 40 to 50 million female fetuses were murdered through gender-selective abortion. Yes, you heard that correct. So this obviously will have huge implications on modern China today and its drastic change in its demographics. We're looking at the end of dating for a millennial and Gen Z man. It is because of this gender-selective abortion, this crime against humanity committed by the previous generation. Now there are estimated to be over 40 million more Chinese men versus women born between the year of 1980 to 2015. That's the 35 years of the one-child policy. There's another thing I must mention, that nearly all Chinese people entering interracial marriages are women. And the most common pairing is a white male and Asian female. Many today, they're known as passport bros, and many of them are living abroad throughout Asia today. That's just the reality. Asian men are often at the bottom of the dating pyramid. And despite the fact that the average Asian American or Asian Canadian, Asian Australian is the most educated and makes the most amount of money, but they're always stuck at the bottom of the dating pyramid. They're often the least desirable partner, even by many Asian women standards. So these leftover men, they really have no choice. They will just simply die alone. Life is not fair. This also led to many other things happening in China. There was rampant child kidnapping cases and human sex trafficking, because there are so many leftover men that they want to have a family, but they don't have any choices. So what they will do is they will pay these local gang members to kidnap young children, especially young boys. And this epidemic peaked during the 1990s. Many women from countries like North Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Burma, etc. They're sold to China as sex slaves, some at a very young age, as young as 12 or 13 years old. And the most famous case, I would say, it's Yumi Park. You should look up her story. It's absolutely incredible. And she lives in the US now. And so her mother was sold as a sex slave to China for $65, and she was sold for 200 because at the time she was a 13-year-old virgin. So quit complaining about how difficult your life is. This is the reality. Okay, life is not fair. Every choice we make in life will have major consequences on the future. This insane abortion epidemic, this has changed China's demographic forever. I'm sure many of you have seen the projections. The worst case scenario for China is by the year of 2100, China's population will have to roughly 700 million, and that is entirely possible. Now, yeah, China is looking at a population collapse, and they're going to have a lot of issues with the lack of youths in the country. Marriage rates are at an all-time low right now. Divorce rate reached 50.7% in 2019. Now, it has dropped, but that is only because of the pandemic and people are having harder time going to courts and booking appointments. That is the only reason. It is still rising after reaching 50%. And it is very common that many Chinese women now today they require a Chinese man to either have a condo slash a house, because in China usually you have a condo. Usually it's extremely rare to see a single detached home. So, and they want this condo to be paid off, no mortgage, and as a requirement for marriage. That's how hard it is for Chinese men to get married. And if a Chinese woman doesn't feel satisfied about the marriage, they can file for divorce anytime. And this is how sexist the court system is. In almost every single divorce case, the woman, they don't just get custody of the children, but they will get the guy's house every single time. And oftentimes, the man after a marriage, they're left with nothing, completely empty-handed. It is the greatest theft in history. It is also a fact that over 80% of divorces are filed by women in China. It's very similar numbers in the West. So quite interesting. So has feminism destroyed marriage, dating, relationships, our society today? And I will come back to this topic. I know I've already posted a 19-minute video earlier, but I think we really need to discuss this. And so I will talk about this in full detail coming up this fall. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time.